All right, so here we have Bitcoin on Bybit on the 1 hour. As you see, that move played out that we were talking about yesterday. As soon as we broke out of this, we had two retests. Actually had a little bit of a fake out bear trap. Came back down to the 100 and resumed up. So far, we have crossed the 200 with the 21 and the 50. And we are currently about to cross it with the 100. So far, so good. Looking good. Um, Looks like we front ran the 21 a bit. We could come all the way down to the 21 and still be in good shape at 23,750 region. We could come all the way down there and still be in good shape. Right now, we are still in the, well, no, we have exited the bullish control zone. But this could count as a retest of the bottom and we could come back up. If we can cross this signal line to the upside at 24,155, I think we stay in this bullish control zone for a while. MACD, either a test or a fresh downside cross. We need to stay above 24 or 23,962. So in order to stay above the signal line, we need to get back above 24,146 in order to test this signal line and resume to the upside. We got plenty of room before we cross to the downside of the zero line. By the way, the MACD and the RSI are both momentum oscillators. They judge bearish and bullish momentum. BBWP here, which measures volatility, did cross its moving average, coming back down to the lower zone, which means we could consolidate here for a while. That's what I'm saying. I think we could come to the 21, or we reverse from here and it got front ran. If we do cross this last high at 24,250, 21,240, or 24,240 to the upside, that's going to look really good. I would expect us to come up to the 25K mark, possibly even higher. We're going to talk about the bullish and bearish case here in a second. So your BBWP is moving down as the price action is moving down and consolidating sideways a bit, which makes me think this is a corrective move. So I think this is just correction. We did expect a minor rejection from 24,250. We expected this whole move. We talked about it yesterday. Retesting this, coming up, getting a small rejection from here, and then resuming up. So far so good. It's playing out so far. Let's move on to the 4 hour, then we'll come back down to the 1 hour. So on the 4 hour, come on. The 4 hour, we just entered the bullish control zone. Looks like we could come back down for a retest, which would also imply that we come back down to that 23, what was it, 700? 23,750. Yeah, so we could come all the way down there, still be in good shape. Test the bottom of that bullish control zone, resume up. MACD, pretty fresh cross to the upside of that zero line. Positive momentum's printing a dark or light green bar in the histogram, but still looking good. Still looking good. We have plenty of room. We need to stay above 23,628 in order to keep rising above. We need to stay above 22,191 in order to stay above that signal line. If we do cross that signal line, that means that we broke the 100. Let's see here. Yeah, so if we cross that signal line, that's not going to look good. I think the momentum, the bearish momentum, would start cascading down, probably lead us all the way down to 19K. There are line in the sands at this point, and the line in the sand for me is the 100 at basically, I would say 23K, to be honest. I would say 23K. We break below 23K, that's not going to look good at all. Let's see, do we have any divergences? No, we do not. So far so good. We need to get above this last high. If we can get above this last high, I think we break this last high at the 24,650 region. I do think we're going to go up to 25. We could have, like I said, we could finish this pullback, then head up to 25. So the bearish case, like I said, is if we start breaking these moving averages to the downside, take them level by level. If we break 23,750, my next level would be 23,500. After that, I do have an alert set here at the 23,178 because I want to be ahead of this move. if we do cross the 23K region. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. The bullish case is obviously if we break this last high, you know, come up to 25K. Now, if we can break 25K and this pattern, which I'm not much of a pattern trader, but it looks like we could have some sort of ascending wedge. But just check out where this lines up at. Basically right above our red zone. So we're going to go ahead and move this red zone to the upside. I'm actually going to do this too. Alright, so that's kind of what I'm looking at right there. That would be your measured move right to the top, which would also start to line up with the gap that we have on CME. That would kind of front run the gap a little bit, but I would also count it. Let's actually check. Let's actually check. What do we got here? Is this it? Yep. Okay, so let's see where this gap is. Alright, so we have the gap coming in at, okay, so it would close the gap. It would close the gap almost exactly because the 28,500 level is right here. So you got your gap here. That would close your gap. That would line up perfectly with that gap. So that's what I'm looking at right there. I'm actually going to put an alert at this level. Let's see here. Put it at 28 and put an alert, and there we go. So you can kind of guess what I'd be doing. I do have my take profit zones. I do think we are making new lows, but I do think we go higher first. Yeah, and I mean, if we break the top of this pattern, I mean, you could even count this as an ascending triangle. I mean, just depends. People are going to play this both ways. All right, so I have an alert set here. I would expect a minor pullback at the top of this red zone at 25K. Probably a pretty significant pullback, possibly down to where we are now at 24,250, and then resumption up. That is unless we reverse from here, the 25K. I'm starting to think we could get up to 26, 27K. All right, so that's kind of what I'm looking at. I think we do have the potential to close that gap, but we'll find out. So, I mean, 27, 28K though is what I'm looking at for my last take profit zone. That's just my trade, not financial advice. If you follow my trade and you get wrecked, that's your own fault. I'm not your dad. So, just saying. Even if we do go higher, that's still going to be a nice profit for myself. I've been in a long since 18K. Let's move on to Ethereum. By the way, if you guys are liking this video so far, like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the links in the description below, one being the Discord. Alright, so here on Ethereum, looks like we had some sort of stop loss wick. Came back down to the 50. Once we got into this purple zone again, we popped up pretty strong. I'm actually going to move this purple zone if I can. Alright, let's see here. I want to move this purple zone to get more accuracy here. So here, I'm actually going to do this. Okay, so let's see here. Right now your RSI is leaving the bullish control zone. We are below the signal line. We need to get back above 1792.60 in order to cross that signal line to the upside. So it wouldn't take much. We would also get into the bullish control zone, and if we can do that, I think we get deeper in it and stay in it for a while. MACD coming back down for a retest, if not a cross. We need to stay above 1756 in order to stay above that signal line. Your positive momentum is decreasing all the way to the zero line on your histogram. BBWP is starting to contract as the price action is going down, which makes me think this is a corrective move. Now, if we cross this moving average, I would think we could probably consolidate here for a second. Possibly, I mean, we're going to find out, because we could get a pullback down to this 50 and still be in good shape. or we could just reverse from the 21. I mean, just with this wick right here, it could mean we reverse from here. If we can get back above this last high at 1810, I would expect a move up to 1900 like we've been talking about in these videos. That would also imply that we do get into that bullish control zone. Either pull one of these numbers to where you cross and then you get a fake out, cross back up, which would be what I'd be looking at. As your BBWP probably just bounces off this moving average or front runs it and moves its way back up to the red line. Bearish case is that we break the 200. If we fall back down, see, so right now we had an ascending triangle, okay? We are testing the top of it right now. So basically, if we break the 50 at 1730 on a 1 hour closure, I do think we come back down to this pattern. Possibly, I mean, it's not going to look good. It's not going to look good. So we don't want to have too much of a pullback with Bitcoin. Now, we're going to find out what comes out Wednesday. You know, we have some important events on Wednesday. I'm sure you all know about them. And let's, so yeah, the bearish case is that we break the 200, maybe even the 50, 1725. But if we break the 200, I think we'd expect a minor bounce here down at these lows, but ultimately I think we'd end up back down at 1350. That would also imply that we get below the neutral median line, probably have a bounce at that level and a bounce on the top of the bullish control zone, but ultimately I think we would enter the bullish control zone. And that would also imply that your BBWP possibly gets below its moving average for a second, but ultimately I think it would stay above its moving average. I do think the volatility continues. That would also imply that your MACD crosses its signal line to the downside, and you start printing dark red bars on that histogram lower than these last lows right here on the histogram. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for Ethereum. If we can break 1900, next stop 2100 is what I'm looking at, and that would also be the measured move of the ascending triangle. So I mean that kind of lines up with Bitcoin getting to 26 to 28k. That's where I think we're going. That's what I've been saying. I think we're going since 18k in these videos. That's what I'm saying. Turn on those bell notifications so you get notified with this time sensitive content. A lot of times I put these videos out and the move happens literally an hour, a couple hours right after. So yeah, definitely pay attention. Let's move on to Solana. So check this out. You basically front ran this diagonal trend line in the top of the red zone. Other people were trading off of this at the $44 mark. We got up to 43.75. So looking good so far. We kind of expected a pullback from that region. Right now being held up by the 21, we could come down to the 50. Your 100's trying to cross your 200 to the upside. RSI, neutral median zone, below its signal line. We did fall out of the bullish control zone. Could come down to this neutral median line, probably get a bounce off of that. MACD, fresh cross to the downside, dark red bars on the histogram. And BBWP starting to head its way back up as you're printing a green candle. So if we could reverse from here. If you can break this last high at 43.42, I think you break that diagonal trend line, break out of the red zone at 44.11 and head up to $50 like we've been saying. And that would also imply that we get back into that bullish control zone above this signal line. The bottom of this bullish control zone is going to have high resistance on the RSI because you got this signal line coming in right at it. All right. And your MACD, that would also imply that we cross that signal line to the upside, continue going up as your BBWP gets above its moving average. Now, what you want to watch for is when your BBWP gets into the upper zone. That's when the move is coming. That's when I would place my trades, not financial advice. But that's when I'm placing my trade. And then just pay attention to your momentum. So yeah, I mean, pay attention to your BBWP, pay attention to your momentum right after, and it'll kind of give you better probabilities of which way this is going to break. So bearish case is that we break this last low right here and the 100. Also have the VPVR POC point of control coming in right here. High level of support. Very high level of support. I mean, you got the 200, the 100, the POC. You got this last low. We could come all the way back down there, but honestly, I wouldn't want to see us get below the 200. We could even get a wick down to the POC, but I want us to close above the 200. Honestly, I don't think we go below the 50 at 41.45. But like I said, we could get a pullback all the way down to there and still be in good shape. So your 50 comes in at this last high. That's going to be resistance turn into support. The 50 is going to be a major level of support as well. Like I said, 41.45 region. So pay attention to that. So if you guys like this video, like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on those bell notifications so you get notified with this time-sensitive content. We have been on the pulse of the market for months now. Definitely want to watch these videos. Everyone have a great morning, great afternoon, great evening, and I will see you tomorrow.